Well, I have some questions for you, if you don't mind, that I think some of our library workers would be interested in knowing. First, I hope this is a softball. Can you just tell us a little bit about your transformation routine, about your prep into becoming your persona?
Sure.
Who would like to start?
You can start since you read first, or do you want me to start?
I can start. Mine is a little bit less extensive than like a Queen's traditional look, obviously. I don't do like a heavy eye, so I mean I start with a base and then I do contour and I build that up, and then I put on fine little hairs all over my face, and I do that with like different things. I do different techniques for that, but it's usually like with a wet brush and gel liner, or it's with an eyeliner pen.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and then I also like fill up my eyebrows the same way. I do facial hair different way every time. So sometimes I do like a whole thing, and then I also I'll sometimes do a prosthetic kind of beard.
I was wondering, do drag performers putting on beards always do pencil or something like that, or do they have appliances that they will glue on?
If I want like a heavier look, then I'll definitely do a prosthetic beard. But I usually like a more lighter look because I'm native and like not a lot of natives even grow beards. So I'm just gonna stick with like a wispy kind of facial hair to stay with myself, my true identity. And yeah, then I finish it with some powder. I bind my chest to give myself a more masculine, flat appearance. All to me, and then a wig. But I do use my regular hair a lot. Like I do like a long-haired boy look a lot, like a Fabio.
All right. I can imagine you make a dashing Fabio.
Oh, I sure do.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you flirting?
Not on camera. Not on camera.
That's for adult story.
That's for adult story time, exactly.
We'll get to that later.
The outtakes.
Well, Collette, would you mind telling us a bit about your
Yeah, so
routine, your
not
transformation?
not that dissimilar. We're basically using highlight and contour, like Carey Bou said, to recreate bone structure and like reshaping the face for softer lines. So I have a very square jaw, and so I use contour to eliminate the squareness and to give myself more of a heart-shaped face. The first thing I do is glue down my eyebrows because I like to have more lid space, and I create an eyelid where there is none. So yeah, I also have hooded eyes, so if I didn't do that and I used my natural lid, you would never see any sort of eyelid for my makeup. So then the eyebrows are drawn above that, and then I have more canvas to work with basically for my eye looks.
And that also kind of like hides your brow bone too.
Yeah, I have a very prominent brow bone. You can really see in this profile. Missing link. So, but yeah, and then I use a lot of, I like to use highlight. I like my makeup to sparkle. I overdraw my lips because when we're lip syncing on stage, we want to make sure that that's seen. And then I sort of do the reverse in terms of the shapewear, is that I have hip pads, and then I have pads for the chest as well, and then I wear a corset to smooth the lines out. So yeah, it keeps everything tightened up, and you can't slouch at all, that's for sure. And then of course, 5-inch heels to keep me, at 6'8". And then the wig, and yeah.
And do you also play with your hair and wear it in different ways?
Now I probably could. Now that I've been growing my hair out, I haven't thought about it. I don't think I'll ever do that, just because part of the, for me at least, I do headdresses. I did that hood for Cannibal.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll do hoods and headdresses, but I don't like to use my natural hair. It's a little bit fun.
I've always been into makeup and like very playful with it. I'll do some femboy looks too, where I'll do like eye makeup as well. But like I've always, liked to play with my features and makeup and everything. So it was just, I don't know, it was just like another few attempts before I was like, okay, I think I like this look. It's looking good. I like it. So.
My story is very different.
fine.
No, it's okay. It's funny. So I have a background in dance and costume design. So being on stage and performing and moving is not unnatural for me at all. So I make almost all of my costumes, and then I'll style my wigs. But then the makeup for me is sort of my arch nemesis. My husband works at Ulta, and he has. When I say encouraged, I mean he's stood in front of the TV and said, "Go practice your makeup," and encourages me to go and not let it be an afterthought. So for me, it is not a natural thing that sort of progressed. I've had to really sit down and have some bad looks and be open to criticism. And even today I said, "How's it looking?" And they were like, it's a little crooked, so we're not perfect. It's not like we got to our end goal and there every single day it's going to be, perfect. I think we both have looks that we know, like, this is where my contour goes, this is how I draw, this is the shape that I use for my eyebrows for the lids.
Looks.
Yeah, classic looks. I think we're both in pretty classic looks today.
Yes.
Yeah, very much
Classic
within our
Carey
personas.
Bou, very classic.
Very classic Collette.
Yeah.
But also, we look to our friends and say, hey, how am I looking? Because we care. We want to make sure it's better. So
we got to be honest with each other so that
yeah.
you can improve.
Right.
I wasn't gonna let you go look out like struggling.
So another question, and I think for the benefit of people who might want to reach out to drag performers, either for library story time or other events, I suppose I'm thinking about what are some of the pitfalls. Some of the pitfalls that people run into in interacting with you and dealing with you professionally and respectfully. If it's not too sensitive, what are some of the mistakes people make, and how can we more respectfully, more knowledgeably interact with you as drag performers?
I think right off the bat, creating a safe space for people who identify in different ways. A good way to do that is to say, hi, my name is XYZ, these are my pronouns, what are yours? That way you create this space where it's not like, tell me yours, but it's like, here's mine, what about yours? Let's all share them so I know how to address you, I know how to respect you. And then for drag performers, what are your drag pronouns?
I think to that same point, the pitfalls that we sometimes run into is like a deliberate inability to make the changes. When someone is politely and respectfully corrected, they still use a dead name or an incorrect pronoun, and that's disrespecting, past the layers of the persona. Like, you're ultimately disrespecting the person, because as artists, there's still a person underneath the costume and everything, and so by disrespecting, the drag persona, it's disrespectful to the person.
Do you ever do story time for adults? This is something one of our members wanted to know.
That is such a cool concept, and this is the first time we were doing story time. We both wanted to do this. Yeah. Oh my gosh, wanted to do this so bad, and we've always wanted to. So I love that idea. So thank you for that idea, whoever gave that question, because that's gonna happen. It's sometimes hard to edit yourself so when you're around a kid audience. So I think, especially in drag personas.
Right.
So I think doing adult story time would be right up our alley.
Maybe a little safer, just
Yeah.
fewer mistakes.
Yeah.
Right, well, it's a cultural thing, like when you're in the drag scene, it's usually in a bar or in a club. Typically, that's where drag is performed.
Right.
That's where it started, in an underground, club scene, and so that's where performances normally are, is in a club. So it's sort of understood that the target audience is 21 and up, and when drinks are flowing, it's a safe space to say the words that you're not allowed to say while you're at work or around kids, that sort of a thing. But I think we both also really enjoy reaching out to kids, so it's one of those things where we're like, we want to do both. I think also we both think it's important that drag is accessible to people of all ages, so that we're normalizing it and saying that this is a wonderful way to express yourself.
Yeah. And it's important, especially for queer youth to see older, like, thriving
Role models.
queer adults. Yeah, like who are out there doing fun things and alive and being and having fun and spreading joy and everything.
And not ashamed.
And not ashamed,
Yeah.
and like just living your truth and being who you are. I think it's really important. So we really love doing like both, like
Right.
the adult stuff, like the performances, and then also like accessible to
Yeah.
all ages.
The answer is yes to both.
Yeah.
We
Yes
wanna
to
do all the
everything.
things.
All
Oh,
of it.
So I think I've got the last question. So how can we, either we in Fairbanks or the viewing audience with the Alaska Library Association, either how can we support you or how can others support their local drag scene or drag community?
Well, you could follow us on Instagram to see what we're up to next.
You have Instagram accounts?
We sure do.
And then, so we follow you on Instagram, and then what do we learn? What do we find out?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say like any upcoming performances that we may have and community outreach that we have planned, especially like during Pride and anytime in the future.
Do you guys ever link out to either queer communities or drag communities in other towns? So I'm saying, like, if someone
in other
follows you
towns.
guys, would that be a good start? And then they can go
Yes.
like, oh, I've discovered this
Absolutely.
person and that person.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Anchorage has a really
Flourishing.
flourishing. They perform at Mad Myrna's, and there's a couple performers that are from here,
Yeah.
like Penny Dragful and Lamia Moreau. They're both from here, and they moved to
I
Anchorage.
didn't know Penny
So-
moved to Anchorage.
Yeah, Penny moved
Okay.
to Anchorage a while ago, honey.
Okay.
Yep. So Penny's down there, and so yeah, I mean, we do collaborate. They'll come up sometimes, so we'll see them.
All right.
We love them.
And we have performers. I'm sorry, we have performers come up from Portland. There's a group that comes up from Portland quite regularly, and I know that some of the Juneau Queens will come up to Anchorage. We're trying to get some of the Anchorage and Juneau Queens to come up here, and I know this is reaching out throughout the state of Alaska. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yes,
right.
it is.
So yeah, there are things to do in not everybody's town, but
I heard
in more
Super
of the
had their
towns.
first one too.
did they? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, with Anchorage Queen.
Nice. Yeah. So, and the more we're, reaching out to the community, like we were talking, is not just us performing to the community, but seeing who else wants to be involved, and maybe this is how they want to, express themselves and, create an art form for themselves.
Yeah, I am like always down for like a mentorship as well. I am so into community building. Like that's what I kind of do for a living, and that's like what I've always been passionate about as an adult. So I love interacting with people. So like if there's like a struggling artist who's like, I want to do this, but I don't know how, or
Reach
like
out.
they can't, if they can't conceptualize it, reach out to either one of us
Absolutely.
and be like, hey, can we get together, work on some stuff? I'm like, yeah, let's do makeup,
And if you have a question that you think we might, have an answer for, we'll do our best to answer it. But if we don't, feel equipped or knowledgeable for the answer, we also know other people in the community, and we'd say, let me reach out to my friend as well. So we're just two people within our community. Right now, at this moment, we're the faces, but we want to point you in the right direction to help you find the resources you need. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's all about staying connected.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Yeah,
This
this
was a
has
real
been a
pleasure.
pleasure. Yeah.